Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down how to dominate Rebirth Island, and I'm also going to explain to you how I became a top 40 ranked player on Rebirth Island. Now, the website that I got that ranking from was called rebirthsweats.com, so shout out to them and credits to them, and that was for season 4. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about the website, about my stats and everything like that, and I'm going to go more into them later on. To start, the first section is going to be how to dominate Rebirth, my 3 biggest tips. Then the second section is going to be breaking down this Rebirth Sweats website and why you should trust me and my advice as a Rebirth player. I just want to say, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, thank you for watching this video. You don't have to subscribe, you don't have to like, but if you do, it really helps out the channel. And I just want to say thank you for watching the video, and I hope you enjoy it. But let's get into it. So first things first, guys, if you're here to figure out how to get more Warzone wins, I will help with that a little bit, but for the most part, I'm here to help you get more kills, how to be a better player, and how to dominate the map. If you want to be someone who can run around Rebirth, getting 10 plus kill games almost every game, then this is going to be the guide for you. So instantly, one of my biggest tips to anyone who wants to get better at Rebirth is land at one of these 5 places: Control Center, Bioweapon, Chemical, Nova, or Prison. The reason why is almost all of these places, they have good buy stations where you can safely buy loadouts at, and they will almost always have enough cash if you can survive the first wave of fighting. If you die and lose a lot of cash after looting, you may not have enough for loadout, but if you can survive that first round and you can loot up, you should have enough cash to get a loadout almost guaranteed at these places. And not only that, all of them have safe areas to buy at. If you land by living quarters and certain areas, almost all of the buy stations are very exposed, and you're going to get shot at while getting your loadie or trying to rotate after you get your loadout. I do sometimes like to land in places like living quarters, security area, down by the shore, even decon. All of those are still viable to land to. I'm not saying never, but I'm saying get more used to landing at places like Control Center, and you're going to start noticing your kills per game go up when you come out on top in these areas. Because the other main thing is this, guys. Getting your loadout, getting it fast, and getting it early is going to be key to you getting a lot of kills. If you really want to get high kill games, let's say you want to get more than 10 kills a game, one of the best strategies to do that is to land somewhere that has a lot of loot, kill the people there, get 2 or 3 kills that way, get your loadout, and then instantly start rotating towards areas with a lot of people. Taking advantage of squads who don't have their loadout yet, but you have really good meta guns, is going to give you an advantage that cannot be underestimated. And by rotating and covering more ground across the map, you're giving yourself a bigger opportunity to get more kills. One of the main ways that anyone can get better at Warzone, get better at Rebirth, and can get more kills is by rotating quicker and more often. The more ground you cover, the more gunfights you get into, the more opportunities you're going to have to kill people, and the better your score is going to look. So to wrap up the first section, the first thing is make sure you find a good landing spot, make sure it has a safe buy station, and make sure you land someplace where you can almost get enough money to buy your loadout guaranteed. Now moving on to the second part, and this is going to be a little different, and this is going to be focusing on your movement. The reason I say this is different is because this is more micro game. This is more about you as an individual and less about the bigger picture and the entire map and everything. Focusing on your movement is going to be crucial to being a good player when it comes to playing in Rebirth Island. Rebirth has so many different angles you can quickly cut behind. There's so many different ways you can play it up. There's so many different ways you can outplay people if you just have good movement. But the second part of it is there's no better place to learn how to have good movement than Rebirth. Because of the fact that you are constantly able to spawn back in because of the whole Rebirth system, you're able to keep coming back, you're able to get more practice in, and you can play more Rebirth games in a day than you could ever play on Verdant. You're able to get in so many more gunfights and get so much more practice in one day of just playing Rebirth Island than you ever could in a full day of playing on the bigger maps. And so if you want to get good, if you want to get good movement, if you want to get better aim in preparation for the new Warzone map, or just to be a better player on the bigger Warzone maps, then there's no better place to do it than Rebirth Island. Having good movement is key in any place in Warzone. It's one of the main fundamentals that makes a good player. If you look at essentially any of the top tier players in Warzone, they all have good movement. The bigger streamers that play in the big tourneys and whatnot, they have the best movement in the game. There's some people like Stone Mountain and Iron, they do have really good movement, but they're not as cracked as some other streamers. But the fact is no matter who you're talking about, no matter the player, no matter what, almost every good player has good movement. It is a key fundamental of Warzone, and it is something that rather than being scared of, you should embrace it. Don't look at it as something that you can't conquer. Look at it as something that's going to slowly take time to improve. But if you take that time, the dividends will be so beneficial and will pay off so massively, you're never going to regret putting that time into it. So while movement is one of the most important skills for any Warzone player, regardless of what game mode they're playing, having good movement on Rebirth Island is going to be the place you're going to notice it probably the most. Well, as I said before, it's absolutely crucial to have good movement on the big maps. Having really good movement on Rebirth Island is overpowered. It's broken because of the design of the map, because of the way engagements and gunfights work. If you can just grasp how to use your movement to help turn the tides in these gunfights, and you can help break lines of sight and find cover through good movement, you're going to destroy kids. You're going to start racking up kills. You're going to start noticing yourself feel a little bit unstoppable when you start abusing these things. So just to wrap it up for my second tip, movement is a key part of any good Rebirth Island player and a key part of any good player in Warzone period. And there's no better place to practice your movement than on Rebirth Island. So now guys, moving on to the third section, this is going to be a twofer. This is make sure you're using the right guns and make sure you're playing with the right people. And the reason why this is a twofer is because, well, there's just so much subjectivity to these. They're not as straightforward as telling you to practice your movement. It's a lot more subjective than that. For example, for me, playing with less aggressive players and people who are more reserved is actually a really good thing. I have the skill to be able to go in and 1v3 and 1v4, and while I may often die, that's why I need to play with conservative players, because that's going to allow me to respawn in often, and if I have one other player who's playing aggressive with me, that guy and I can 2v4 almost any squad in the entire lobby. But let's say instead of being a 3.0 Rebirth player, you're like a 1.5 KD Rebirth player. Maybe then you need to get 3 or 4 kind of aggressive players who match your tempo so you can all push together and use your overall strength as a 4-man squad to really overwhelm people. See, if you guys understand your strengths as a player and what some people do well, some people are really good at sitting back and picking people off and playing more conservative, but those people often aren't going to end with 15, 20 plus kills. But if you want to get 20 plus kills, if you want to get 10 plus kills in Rebirth Island, then you're going to have to play more aggressive. And you're going to have to find people who are a little more aggressive. But you also have to understand, conservative people, people who sit back and help you with their conservative playstyles are really important, because those are kind of the spawn beacons that keep you in these Rebirth games that get all hectic and crazy with the spawns. And the same thing goes with the guns. When it comes to guns, guys, I'm someone who can quickscope really well, and I do quickscope well, so running a sniper with an OTS-9 or a Cold-War MP5 is a great class for someone like me. Because I can quickscope well, because I can snipe well at long range, having that absolute dominant SMG between 0 and 10 meters is going to be crucial for me and my playstyle. But let's say you're choosing to run a sniper on Rebirth, and you realize you can't really quickscope too well, and you don't snipe people in the mid-range. Then rather than using the OTS and the Cold-War MP5 like me, you want to use something like the XM4, the Cold-War AK, the FFAR, maybe a Milano or Bullfrog, whatever. You have to understand the difference between who you are as a player and what's going to work best for you. Maybe instead of sniping, you work best with the long-range AR, or maybe vice versa, whatever. It's all going to come down to who you are as a player. And I think that's really the best way I'd wrap up this tip, is that understand who you are as a player. And understand the ways you want to improve as a player and the best ways to make that happen. Understand the guns you should use for the type of playstyle you have. Understand the people you should play with based on the playstyle you have. And understand the ways you need to adapt your own playstyle and adapt to using new guns and new things. So now guys, related to all of this is how I became a good Rebirth player and how I ended up getting top 50 according to Rebirth Sweats. The way that this happened in my eyes is because I just focused on becoming a good Warzone player. I never made it my mission to become a top ranked Rebirth player. I never made it my mission to even really be that good at Rebirth Island. The only thing I really care about is being a good Warzone player, because a lot of my focus and my main focus will always be on the bigger maps. Even in that season that I was ranked that high in Rebirth Island, I had way more Verdansk games than I ever did Rebirth Island games. I really, really enjoy playing Rebirth Island, but the bigger maps will almost always certainly be the main focus for me. But the main thing I do want to say is Rebirth Island has really helped me become the player that I am in Verdansk. I have a 3.37 KD. I play on PS5. I'm top 1,500 in terms of score per minute. I'm top 2,000 in terms of KD ratio, in terms of CODtracker.gg. And all of these things mean a lot to me because I started playing Warzone so late in comparison to most people, and I'm also playing on console on PS5, and the people I play with don't even have higher than a 1 KD for the most part. There's one player that has a 1.2, and on the very rare occasion I play with my little brother as a 1.5. So for me to have that high of a KD, to have the success, to get high kill games as often as I do, to get as many wins as I do, is something I'm very proud about because it's something I had to put a lot of work to achieve. I don't set out to achieve things like becoming a top 50 ranked Rebirth Island player. I set out just to become a better player. And those are the things you want to focus on. How are you going to become a better player? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little different than other videos I've done in the past. If this is your first time being on this channel and you made it to this point, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate anyone who watches these videos. I have a lot of people to keep coming back in the comments, and I know a lot of you guys, I talk to you in the comments, and I just want to say thank you guys to all of you. Whether you are someone who comments, whether you're someone who just watches my videos without commenting, or whether this is your very first time, thank you so much for watching these videos. I'm at 425 subscribers. I started this YouTube less than a year ago. I had 0 subscribers. I had nothing going for me essentially in terms of this channel. But now I'm here. So I just want to say thank you. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope it made you a better Rebirth player. It's been Ryan. Peace.